Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of How to Wholesale. We're waiting for the team to get on. They're just finishing up some calls. But in the meantime, I'm going to go over. Um, I'm going to go over an underwriting process of a subject to deal. I think you guys will get some value from this. I have a seller who essentially went through bankruptcy and needs to sell his house on subject to. Now, as I was just underwriting a little bit, I didn't get too deep in the weeds, but just briefly looking at it, I do not think that this is going to be a deal. So we're going to disqualify this one if that is the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see. Okay, so this seller, he has what we call a PITI of $28.50 a month. What does this mean? This seller has, his name is David. Okay? David has a house. He actually has two mortgages on it. So there's a first mortgage and a second mortgage. So combined, right, from this first mortgage, I forget exactly what it was on the first and second mortgage, but let's just say this one was $1,500. This is including taxes and insurance, right? So on a lot of mortgages, some banks will have taxes and insurance included on the mortgage. So for this particular one, let's just say the first mortgage, taxes and insurance. So PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance on the first mortgage, right here, PITI is $1,500. What's left after that? 28.50 minus $1,500. 1350. So let's just say on the second one it's 1350. This is just rough numbers, but just for sake of example, I know that this is correct. I just forget exactly what the first and second mortgage is. But so for this particular seller, we would be taking over the responsibility of this first mortgage and the second mortgage and the taxes and the insurance on both on the property itself. So we would be responsible for paying this in total every single month for the mortgage payment, for the interest, for the principal, for the taxes, for the insurance. We would be responsible for paying this. Now, what do we look for? We're looking for what can we rent this thing out at? As we just looked at the rent rates, actually, let's start off with what he rented out at right now. He rents it out at $3,600 a month. However, we could increase this rent to $4,000 because his tenants are actually leaving. So as we increase rent, we're going to get $4,000 a month. Not too much of an increase, but still an increase, right? We'll still consider it. Now, this seller, what does he want? He wants $30,000 down. So he wants us to bring $30,000 to the table and then take responsibility of the mortgage, right? He also has some equity. We're not going to really go deep into the weeds of that because he would essentially allow us not to pay any money on the equity. And then like 10 years down the line, we would owe him. So that what would happen is the house would appreciate, it would go up in value. And then at year 10, we would either sell the house or refinance and give him all of his equity, which we could do that. But all we're going to be in the deal for this one is $28.50 a month for the first 10 years. Okay. So what do we look at? We're looking at what is this going to take us to get in the deal? We got to give the seller $30K. So this is seller 30 grand up front. We're going to have to pay ourselves an assignment fee, right? Because we had acquisitions people get there. So let's just call it 10K for acquisitions, right? Now, as far as repairs go, the house needs minimum 40K worth of work. Sorry. rehab, 40K worth of work. What else are we going to have to do? We're going to have to close on the property. So we're going to have closing costs. That is most likely going to be, let's just see, we have a $375 purchase price. Typically what we'll do is we'll factor in about 2% for closing costs. So 2%, that brings us, let's round it up to 8K. So now we're in the deal at $8,000. Plus we got to pay to maintain the property while we renovate it and pay the, guys to come over and do the lawn and stuff like that. So we don't get hit with the fees from the town. So we're going to have to pay the maintenance and we're going to have to market it. So we're going to do maintenance and market. What do I mean by market it? We're going to have to go find a renter for this property. So we're going to have to hire a realtor, maybe pay them $1,000 or whatever it is to go find us a tenant. So with all that said, let's just factor in, it won't be too much, but let's just factor in 2K for sake of example to make it easy. So what is this? 10K, 50K, 60K, 90K. So we're going to be total in this deal $90,000 just to get this place rented out. So now what do we look at? We look at, does this make sense? $2,850 is what we're in the deal every single month. And we're going to get $4,000 in gross rent. So what does that leave us with? What do? We do $4,000 minus $2,850. What does that bring us? $4,000 minus $2,850. That brings us $1,150. So some people would say, man, you're going to make $1,150 a month. That's freaking good. However, that's not the raw cash flow in your pocket, right? We're looking for, hey, what are we going to take home? Like at the end of the day, after paying everybody out, after factoring in everything, what are we going to take home? That's what we look at, right? Realistically, we're not going to take this home. This is just the difference between what we're going to get in rent and what we're paying in principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. However, that is not the actual cash flow, right? What do we have to factor in? We have to factor in a property manager. So typically what we're going to factor in is about 10% for this. So what does this come out to? 10% of the gross rent. So what does that come out to? $4,000 times 10%. That is $400. So $400 is going to come out of that automatically. Plus, we're going to want what we call our war chest. This is just our rainy day money, right? We're going to factor in about 5% for that of the gross rent. 5%, that's $200. $200. So now we got to take another $200 off of this $1,150. So now where are we at? Let's factor that in. $1,150 minus $600. Now we're at $500, $550 left in cash flow. So we're at $550. However, we're still not done. Even after factoring in rainy day money, factoring in the property manager, we're still not done. We have $550 to play with, but we're still not done. What do we look at, right? The last thing we have to look at is this 90K. Where is this coming from? This 90K to get into the deal comes from what we call a private money lender. We're going to have to pay the private money lender every single month. Typically, you can find a private money lender for 12%. So how do you factor that in? What do you pay a private money lender? How do you pay a private money lender? If they're giving you $90,000, you have to essentially give them 12% of that 90K, right? So what is that? You times that by 0.12, 90% times 0.12. That brings you to $10,800. What you do to figure out the monthly payment towards that is you divide it by the 12 months in the year. So $10,800 divided by 12. equals $900. So we're going to have to pay our private money lender $900 a month. That would mean if we did this deal, we would essentially be losing 900 minus. We would essentially be losing $350 a month. Does that make sense? Absolutely not. So what can we do? Can we try to figure out if we can? This stuff is a given. We already have that no matter what. We can negotiate this, but let's just see even, right? If we're at 90,000, if we're at 60,000, now we subtract the 30,000 we got to give them, times that by 12% for the private money lender, we're at 72. So let's just say this. Let's just say this number went down to 60 because we negotiated. We're coming out of pocket $0, right? So now instead we're doing, for our private money lender, we're doing $60,000. We times that by 0.12. $60,000 times 0.12, that equals $7,200. Right? Now we got to divide that by the 12 months in a year. 7,200 bucks divided by 12. That brings us to 600. So remember, we were at 550 before. So let's get rid of this. Let's say we negotiated this thing down to $0 to the seller, right? We would still have to pay our private money lender $600, and we only have 550, meaning we would lose $50 a month. Obviously, does not make sense. So, where is my thing at? So, with that being said, this is not a deal. So, I'm going to call the seller right now, and I'm going to tell him that this is not a deal for us. What up, team? Did you guys hear all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the seller from yesterday that we were talking about. I'm going to give him a call and let him know if he's not a deal for us.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, David?
What's going on?
Hey, so after factoring in some things, I'm probably going to have to take my buyer's hat off at this point.
You're gonna probably not do it?
Yeah, man, it's just I'm trying to work these numbers out, and I even factored in us not giving you any money up front and giving you money over time, and I tried to work it a bunch of different ways, and it's just not going to work for us. The reason being is because after looking at the market rents, right, would only be able to raise the rents up to 4,000 max, and as of right now, your total overhead is $2,850, including taxes, insurance, and all the mortgage payments. Which essentially a lot of people would look at it as like, hey, you still have $1,150 to play with, right? But we have to come up with all the costs to get into the deal, right? We got to do rehab, we got to do closing costs, and we got to do all that. And what we end up doing is we borrow that money from our lenders, and they charge us interest every single month, which eats up at our cash flow, obviously. Plus, we got to hire the property manager and all that stuff. So it's just I don't see us making this deal work.
All right.
All right, brother. So I wish you the best of luck with the property on the market, but I just wanted to give you the courtesy of giving you a call and letting you know that we're not a buyer for you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother. So that one is not a deal. Here's the thing. Here in Massachusetts, I don't want to scare anybody because a lot of my people that watch my channel are from the Northeast. But dude, I look at these types of deals all day up here in Massachusetts, and like, it's just hard to cash flow. Taxes are fucking through the roof. Insurance is through the roof. The actual value of the properties are through the roof, and the cash flow is not good. Like literally, this is why Massachusetts stinks to own property in. because the government legit tells Massachusetts, like legit tells us that we cannot raise the rents to a certain amount, right? Even though our freaking taxes are crazy and our insurance is crazy, they legit tell us we can't raise the rents. However, other markets like maybe Arizona or something like that, they don't have those types of laws. So this is why if you're watching and you might be in the Massachusetts area or something like that, I would reconsider where you were trying to buy, like hold on to property long term. It just doesn't make sense. As far as wholesale and fix and flip go, it's freaking amazing. Like we get crazy big assignment fees, we get crazy big fix and flip spreads. However, just like cash flow just does not, especially with creative finance, it just does not make sense. I'm not saying that they're not out there. I'm just saying I have seen so many times, like literally, I just tried to make this subto deal work with us not giving any cash to the seller, and it still didn't cash flow. A 3 unit. So it's like, dang, we are coming for you another market, whatever market that is, we're coming for you to build out the freaking beast of a portfolio. However, if a deal works, I'll still buy it in Massachusetts or Rhode Island. Anyways, Felipe, Karen, how y'all doing?
I'm good, man. Doing great.
Good. Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions today? I have to literally like 12 minutes.
You got 12 minutes.
Yep. What do you got?
All right. I talked to that really hot lead that came in yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be. I don't even know if it's possible. It's gonna be a crazy one because the guy passed away. It never went through probate because there was someone in the
Hold on.
house.
Karen, give me one second. Karen, I don't know what it is, but there's some feedback coming in from.
Oh, okay. Let me figure that out.
Go ahead, bro.
So it never went through probate because there was a tenant in there, and they just didn't want to leave. They just said we're not leaving. Yada yada yada. So they could never go through.
Somebody passed away, like a landlord passed away,
Yeah.
right? And whoever inherited the house never decided to go through probate because the tenants just stayed without paying.
Well, they tried to go through probate. There was even a lawyer doing the whole paperwork, and then he said they couldn't do it since there's someone just wouldn't leave the house. So I guess the lawyer just gave up in trying, right? With that being said, the foreclosure date is in November, and they're most likely underwater with the house.
Where is it?
Brockton.
Okay. So you're saying, as far as underwater, explain to the audience what that means.
He owes more than the house is worth.
Okay. What does he owe?
He doesn't know how much he owes today, but he pulled out like a balance sheet from like 2016. It was 250 grand they owe, and the ARV is around like 300, 330, and that was 2016.
Does it need a lot of work?
He doesn't know because he hasn't been there in like 5 years. He completely just ignored about it. He said, I don't care, yada, yada, yada. And then I kind of got him to like, hey, it's better to at least try instead of just losing a whole house, you know? So he's kind of on board with us. He wants to get it done, but if it's even possible to get it done.
Does he have access to the tenants? Like, is he talking to the tenants at all?
He doesn't even know if there's tenants in there anymore. Like, he doesn't know anything anymore. Brother passed away. He went over there once with the cops to grab the brother's car, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. He probably owes at this point. If he obviously hasn't paid any mortgage payments, right?
No, he hasn't done anything.
Okay. So he probably owes around ARV, right?
That's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
After taking the interest hits and all that stuff, late payments, everything, he probably owes around ARV. What could potentially happen, right? I can go over there right after I meet my contractors at our flip today. I'll do a drive-by. Send me the address. I'll do the drive-by. I'll see if it looks vacant or if it looks like there's tenants in there. And I'll try to peek in the window to see what it looks like as far as as far as repairs, because what could end up happening is we could get a loan modification. Well, oh shit, you said that it didn't go through probate, right?
It didn't go through probate, so that's still the first step.
Okay, first things first, see if it's vacant. If it's vacant, we could see if they would entertain us paying the probate fees. And what could end up happening is, dang, that's tough, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Because what I'm thinking is we could end up paying the probate fees, but we wouldn't want to do that if it's going to go to auction. So we'd have to get the foreclosure stopped first.
Yeah.
But the person who's on the mortgage is dead, correct?
Yes. So that's what I told him. I even told him our first step is to push back the foreclosure date, which I don't really know. Maybe if a probate does push it back, I don't know what entails of pushing back a probate, an auction date. And then we can go through probate. He's like 100% on board. He doesn't really he said, if I walk away with 15 grand, that's fine with me. I don't care. At least I walk away with something. He just wants us to help him. And I just told him I'll figure out what we need to do. And if it's possible, I'll get back to you. If not, it is what it is.
Okay, so let's cancel some things out. We cannot buy this house in cash because he owes too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's dead. What we can do is essentially get him a loan modification. Would he qualify for a loan, do you think?
Like, does he have like enough income to qualify for a loan and all that? I think so. He's like he was talking about his business. He's like a master electrician, so it sounds like he makes good income.
So what could happen? I'm not sure. I'd have to do some homework on this, but we could potentially talk to the lender and explain the situation, explain that we're about to go through probate, see if they'll pause the foreclosure. If they pause the foreclosure, go through the loan modification process and probate process to get this guy on the deed, and then see what that looks like. And then once it goes through probate, once the loan modification goes through and there's a new loan in place, if there aren't too many repairs, we could take it over subto.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be worth this guy's time to do all that though. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking, can we negotiate what's owed on the property
You can potentially.
to get it down to be able to do a cash deal?
At the end of the day, how much square foot is it?
1,100.
Yeah, so ARV is probably around like 350.
Yeah, the Simply saying 380. I mean, I could do a comp real quick, but yeah, around there.
But either way, it would probably have to be in the low twos, somewhere below 250.
Yeah.
So what could potentially happen? It could just be a short sale opportunity. We bring it over to our short sale guy.
That's what I think it's gonna be.
First option though is try to get it to go through. It has to go through probate no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what, it has to go through probate.
So it has to go through probate. In order, if we're ever going to consider paying for the probate, we're going to need to know that the foreclosure gets stopped, right? And we need to know that he'll get approved for a loan modification. So we have to go through that, but we have some time because the auction date is until November.
Yep.
Let me do some work on this, bro. Send it over to me. First things first, I'll go check it out.
Yeah, I'll text you the address, and yeah, you can check it out. It looks abandoned.
Here's what I'm gonna do. If I check it out and it's a shit show and it needs a ton of work, then I'm just gonna immediately go down the short sale route and I'm gonna pass it off to my short sale guy.
Cool.
Because it literally, did you guys just watch what I went over?
Yeah, the subto.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's what would kill our deal, right? Like if I go there and I could just tell just from the outside that this thing's going to need $80,000 worth of work, automatically that kills our subto deal. And that's the problem with these houses in Massachusetts. They need a shit ton of work. And the entry fee is always crazy freaking high and it doesn't make sense to underwrite. So if I go there and the thing's in decent condition, which I'm assuming that it's not, But if it is, then we can entertain taking it down sub 2. If not, I'm just going to pass it right off to my short sale guy.
Yep. Yeah. So he's kind of clueless too because he hasn't been there in years. Last time he said he went there was in good condition. That was 5 years ago. So we don't know.
Amazing. Cool. Do you have any more questions?
That's it.
Cool, bro. Good work. Yeah, I'm going to send that over to my short sale guy. Karen, what do you got?
Yeah, I actually have someone I want to go over with. It's this guy. This is the dog, put in our private chat. I talked to him earlier. I actually had a call with him a month back, and I was supposed to have a follow-up call, but he didn't answer for a lot of times, and then he answered earlier today. But he was being so tough in getting more information, and I was trying to get into like the repairs and needs to be done and all that, but he wasn't entertaining my questions because he was already expecting that we already have an offer at hand. The last time we had a conversation, he had an offer. He had an offer for around 275, and he was actually kind of interested about it, but that buyer wasn't sure about it, or he was hesitant with the buyer. He's not sure about the buyer and all that.
So did you scorch the earth on that buyer?
Not much.
Okay, so here's what we'll do, Karen, right?
Yeah.
He's saying that he had an offer for 275, right? I'm looking at the property just roughly, and it looks like the ARV is probably like 325, which we know our offer at that is going to be like probably somewhere lower than 2. So whoever offered him 275 is most likely a wholesaler that doesn't know what they're doing. So I would just plant seeds, right? Do a really good job of building credibility with third-party stories and everything like that, and then just plant seeds and essentially discredit the buyer and push him to go with that buyer, but just say, hey, be aware, this just happened on one of our other transactions. We were about to go under agreement with somebody, and then another quote unquote buyer came in and said that they would give like $50,000 more than us. So the seller ended up going with them. Funny story, he ended up coming back to us like 30 days later when they didn't close. Essentially, the guy was trying to shop around the contract and couldn't find a buyer because it wasn't a deal. It sounds like that might be what is going on here. Not too sure. Maybe this guy does have a bunch of cash and he just needs to store his cash somewhere, but I'm having a tough time seeing how he can buy this property at 275. I think it's a really good offer, so maybe you should go with it, but just do your due diligence. And what I would say is I would just say make sure that he's showing you proof of funds and he's credible and that he's bought a bunch of deals before moving forward with him. And then I would think if everything checks out, I think it's a great offer. You should probably take it. If not, we can have another conversation in like a month or so.
Got it. Okay.
Cool. That is called Scorch Mother Earth. So all you knucklehead wholesalers up here in Boston, literally, I see it. I see a bunch of deals come across the Facebook groups at like 90% ARV. And then they say the ARV is like $200,000 over what the heck the actual ARV is. I'm like, dude, stop. You're scaring the buyers. Literally. I had like some of these, and I'm not even like rashing because we've done it before too. Like I've been in the beginning before too, and I didn't understand how to underwrite, and I didn't understand how to show the marketplace that we have good deals. But literally, I've had people send me deals, and I've been on their email blast and stuff like that, and I won't even open them anymore. And I'm a buyer, like I buy deals. We like, you know what I'm saying? We buy deals in this market, and I literally have wholesalers send me deals that I don't look at anymore because I looked at maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And they're all like bananas. They're not even close to being good deals. And I know that they fall out of contract. How do I know that? Because I'm in the weeds. I'm freaking talking to these sellers. So, you know what? I'm going to do a freaking underwriting video maybe this week or next week. That's what we'll do. Anyways, people, I got to go run to go meet some contractors. Felipe, Karen, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to give me a shout. Give me a call on Slack or whatever you got.
You're
All right,
Okay.
Silverhomies.com if you want us to call your leads, do the follow-up, do all the things, close, dispo. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day.
peace.